Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Q. I'm here to, of course, it's been a bit of a long day, but we try to keep everything positive. Think thoughts that keep us moving and not that put us down. We just kind of reflect on the day. But welcome to the first episode of I Rated So You Don't Have to. And today we will be discussing secrets of the millionaire mind. Let's see with the light going on. This is going to be the first rendition and first episode, so bear with me through any mistakes. I'm kind of getting everything, learning how to kind of do this process because this will be new for me. So hopefully, learn something. So I'm not gonna, beat around the bush too much. Got my handy dandy notes and a little script just to kind of go off of when it comes to talking to this stuff. I've read pretty far into the book, probably about halfway, and so I'm gonna go over some of the things that kind of help give you more insight on what goes on and what these books talk about when it comes to actually wealth management, money and wealth management, and also your how you deal with certain things, especially internally. It's not just externally when it comes to money. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, written down a couple things here. The main topics I want to focus on are your inner and outer game of money. Because as you read through the book, the first part is asking about the tools that you typically use. Because everybody understands that you have business management, you have, business knowledge, money management, investment strategies, which a lot of people tend to lean towards and try to learn about to go ahead and build a lot of wealth, to build money. But there's also more than just that. There's also the inner game of money. So, from what I learned, and this is just me kind of talking off a script real quick, is that when it comes to the inner game of wealth, let's back in focus. Maybe I'm moving around too much. There we go. When it comes to the inner game of wealth, how you feel, how you feel about yourself, your confidence, your perception, everything, how you deal with yourself, you deal with the outside world, you deal with, the positives, the negatives, just everything has to do in your energy towards life in general can influence your success towards life. And even though it sounds simple, a lot of us don't realize we get kind of stuck in a trap of the negatives about life or how we feel about money and don't even realize your subconscious and conscious thoughts about it are kind of keeping you in the same place. You know what I mean? And most people don't really study their feelings about money. So here, I just want to ask you a couple questions just to kind of see where y'all are at. I hate that it keeps unfocusing, probably because I'm moving around, but it is what it is. It's more of a video about talking than to actually look at me. So I want to ask, so who are you? How do you think? What are your beliefs? What are your habits and your traits? How do you feel about yourself? How confident are you in yourself? Do you truly feel that you deserve wealth? Your ability to act in spite of fear, or worry, or inconvenience, or discomfort? Can you act when you're not in the mood? And with a lot of these statements and a lot of these questions are very personal questions because it causes you to look inside yourself and kind of figure out who you are as a person. Not just who you perceive yourself to be, but who you actually are. Are you the type of person who's not very confident? What are your habits? You're the type of person who, let's face it, we do know people who do have spending habits, who do like to shop, who whenever they get money, they tend to make it a habit to relieve themselves of that money. So how do you think? Like, do you think positively? Do you think negatively? Do you, you know, the way you think affects a lot of things and how you move in life and the energy that you get back from the rest of the world. What are your beliefs? Do you have good beliefs in money? Do you have beliefs that maybe wealth is a bad thing, that's the root of all evil? Do you have beliefs that, you don't really feel that you deserve to be wealthy? That you believe? Because even though I think this is a big misconception about it, is that people want to say they believe that they deserve to be wealthy. They want to say they want. It's always the want, but do you actually truly believe it? You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people get stuck in the fear of, well, if I get wealthy, people are gonna ask for handouts. People are going to, somebody may try to harm me, or the amount of work that goes into it. Because you can say it versus actually believing it, and then your ability to act just under different situations. How are you whenever you're uncomfortable? How are you when you fear something, when you worry, when you're inconvenienced? Are you the type of person that you hit a snag when it comes to a plan and you stop doing whatever you're doing? Are you the type of person that you get frustrated when things don't go your way? Are you the type of person that gives up easily? Like whenever you're scared of something, do you get stalled out by fear? Where a lot of people will, from what I'm reading as well, is that when you tend to fear something, but you rationalize it as in you being rational. So just like an example, where some people would not take out a loan to start a business. Some people would not go ahead and take the first steps to do whatever you're gonna do because you have rationalized that it's probably not gonna work out. You know, you found your own reasons as to why something cannot be successful without you even trying it first. Now there are things that don't make sense, like if I open up a blockbuster, no reason to because you have Netflix. But if you have a business plan, sometimes your fear will show itself as you trying to rationalize as to why you can't do something. And a lot of people have a lot of fear but don't want to admit it. And sometimes you have to admit that you are scared to do something, and that's what's keeping you back. Because think about it, all the people that you may have seen or may know who are very wealthy, whether it be online entertainment, entertainers, sports stars, actors, they all had to do something that a lot of people would not do. Whether it be an actor where they had to get on screen and do his dialogue or act goofy or stupid or for whatever role that they're playing. These stars have to go out there and compete and be the best that is out there by constantly training. These comedians have to get on stage in front of like thousands, hundreds of thousands of people and perform. But that's all a fear. Like if you think about that, like could you honestly say that you can go out there and do what they did? Which you can, but a lot of things that if you can get over that fear, you can get to new levels. That's the thing that a lot of people get stuck on. So with those questions, I say think about those questions and really ask yourself and do some real self-reflecting and to see who you really are as a person and see how your actions, how your thoughts, how you feel about yourself really affect you and how you view the world, how you view your money, how you do your personal relationships because it all kind of comes together because even though some people may not think it, but when you're broke, when it tends to be, you're not the most happy. Some people can be happy or broke, but a lot of people would prefer to have money. Sometimes when your relationship's not good, you kind of have negative outcomes. It's the way you think can cause a lot of your downfall. Next thing is your character, your thinking, and your beliefs. Like I said, are the biggest and most critical part of what determines your level of success. If you do not truly believe that you will be successful, that you can be wealthy, that you deserve these things, you will never get it. There's a difference between wanting something and feeling like you deserve it. You can want box, you can want to go travel the world, you can want to go, talk to a girl, talk to a guy, but if you don't feel like deserving, not like to feel like entitled, which sometimes it does help to do so as long as it's under the right circumstances, but to feel like you deserve where you actually go out and put in the work to do something to go make something happen because I can want to go travel until I feel like yeah I deserve to go do that, then that's the empowerment I need to go ahead and take the initiative to start doing something and saving money or figure out ways I can go look up and travel without spending too much, you know what I mean? So it's just the way you think as a big critical part in your success. And a lot of people tend to hold themselves back because they don't either believe that they truly deserve it. They think way too negatively, so that keeps them in that same bubble. Because if you're always thinking negatively, they have a law, which I'm getting to a little bit ahead of what I have wrote down, but it's what in the book it says whatever you focus on expands. So if you're always focusing on the negative, you're always thinking about, how bad something is, how bad your situation is, this, that, and the third, it's always going to be bigger. Now, there's not to say that life does not have issues. That's not to say that you won't have to deal with anything if you stop thinking about it. Yes, you will. That's just the way life is. But the more that I think negative thoughts, the more it does feel like you attract it to you in a way. More that bad things keep happening. You know what I mean? Because when everything's good, all you're thinking about is good stuff, and you tend to have good things happening to you. But when you think about the bad, you never have enough money for bills, you never have enough money to do this, it kind of continues that cycle in a way. So it tends a lot of the wealth management stuff is mindset as well. You ever notice that some people with a lot of money tend to lose it? That those who have excellent opportunities and things are going well, things to turn sour, and you sometimes have to ask yourself, could it be bad luck? Could it be economic downturn? Or just, lousy partner, just whichever. Because there's always an excuse as to why something was going great and it went wrong, why someone had a lot of money and then they lose it. And a lot of the times, a lot of the people are not ready for it internally. You have to be ready for wealth. You have to be ready for wealth. And when I say that, I mean, like I said before, a lot of this is mindset internal. You have to believe that you can be wealthy because if you feel like you don't deserve wealth, if you don't have the internal understanding that, you know, I'm supposed to have this money or I can, do well with this money, you will go back to how you were before the money because you're not doing things to kind of sustain and to continue growing. Just like there's a reason why so many lottery winners end up being broke or worse off than they were whenever they got the money because you they weren't ready for that. Because if you are the type of person who barely survives and you barely pay your bill can pay your bills, you're living in a survival mindset, you getting a whole buttload of money is probably not gonna help you for the majority of the part. That's for a lot of people. Now some people can, do something different, but if you're not that type of person and not ready for it, most likely you're probably not gonna have the discipline to handle that money. Because if I just gave you $50,000, like most of the time, most people would go buy something for themselves. You know what I mean? They're not thinking about investing. They're not thinking about how can I make this more money with this. They're always thinking about what can I get now to get a quick pleasure, what I would call it. Where I need a new outfit. I can go get hair done. I can go buy the next game. I can go do this. I can go do that. Most of the time, if you are not internally set for that money, it's gonna go away. And you have to kind of build yourself up and understand that you have to be ready for the wealth that you will be given or you going to receive to make things actually work out. Because if you can't, just like you can't just give a homeless person just a whole bunch of money. You can't just give somebody a whole bunch of something that they just, responsibility they aren't ready for. Not everybody can be the president. Not everybody can be a CEO. Not everybody can be a manager. Because a lot of people, whenever they get power, whenever they get the opportunity to do something, they end up doing stuff that gets rid of that opportunity because they're not ready for it. You know what I mean? There's plenty of examples out there where somebody who as soon as they got a little bit of something that they end up ruining for themselves, and you just like, how do you ruin it? It's because you're not ready. You know what I mean? Not everybody's meant to do that, and that's one of the sad realities that you got to accept is that not everybody can be wealthy. Not everybody can be have power. Not everybody can have responsibility. It doesn't work like that. So, and last thing I'll note off on is the key to success is to raise your own energy. When you do, people will naturally be attracted to you. When I say that is when you have a different mindset, when you have positivity, when you have thinking that you can turn things around and actually understand that you can take risks in this life, and it won't probably won't be the end of you as long as you believe in yourself for the most part. As long as you're not doing something stupid, you know what I mean? Here's yeah the burp. There are exceptions to every rule. You're not doing something super stupid, and you are actually believing in yourself. You're most likely going to survive as long as you're not dead. You can bounce back. And I think a lot of people are have the energy of this won't things won't work out. I'll be ruined if this happens. It'll never be me. Why does this happen to everybody else? You're putting that energy out there, and you can't get anything good back from it because you won't be open to opportunities. If and when I say that, a lot of people are probably gonna look at this and be like, "Oh man, he's talking about energy and all that." There's a common theme when it comes to these wealth books. A lot of it is about energy and understanding things, and it's true because whenever you really think about it, like just imagine. No, you don't have to imagine. Everybody has been in this. When you are upset and angry at somebody or angry at something, you've ever thought about how hard it is to calm you down or to calm somebody else down when they're really focused in on something where they can't really see everything else and you have to give them time to kind of relax and come back so they can see a bigger picture. But when they're in that mode, they're stuck there. Same thing with negative thoughts. If I'm only focusing on the negative, I can't. It's going to be hard for me to see the positive and opportunities in something. Yes, I could. Trying to think of a good example here. Maybe it's gonna come to me, but there a lot of times you can turn a negative into a positive learning moment. And a lot of people tend to miss that because they're too busy focused on why did something happen to them, why do I have such bad luck? And you can speak a lot of stuff into existence. You know what I mean? If you're always telling yourself that you'll never be great, you can never do this, you can never do that, what do you think you're gonna end up doing? Nothing. That's just a fact. If you say, "Oh yeah, I never run a mile," "Oh, I can never, you know, be that smart," "Oh, I can never make that amount of money," like you're immediately telling yourself to deny all those and not look for those opportunities when there's opportunities around you everywhere. But if you're in a positive mind state, where let's say you just ran, you just jog for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, why couldn't you feel like you can jog for like another minute or two and get to 7 minutes? If you did 5 push-ups, why don't you feel like you can do five more push-ups when you're already in that good mood and feeling good and got the good pump? When you're in a good positive mind space, you'll actually feel better and see the opportunity to do more and be more focused on, okay, yeah, I feel good, I can make something happen versus woe is me and nothing's gonna go my way, if that makes sense. So I just want to post that as the first episode. So I just want to go over some of the topics again real quick. There is an inner and outer game of money, just like there is a carpenter. It doesn't make there's yeah, not much of a difference if I give you the tools of a carpenter and they are the top of the line tools if you're a carpenter. To make the tools worth it is the carpenter himself and his knowledge, his mastery, and the way he deals with things and his confidence to be able to wield those tools. So that's just like the same thing with the inner and outer game of money. Outer game is your tools, your inner games is the carpenter. You need both of those to make sense. So that means to actually do some work to figure out who you are, what are your beliefs, well, how do you feel about money, how do you feel about yourself, do you feel like you deserve it, do you feel like you can actually obtain it, like just honestly, do you actually feel like you can be like not want to be, not I could be, it's do you feel like yes, if I really put my mind to it and I started today, I could be a millionaire. Like that's in the story. Like you fully believe it, just like you believe that you can take your next breath, that water is wet, that the sun is hot and it's bright. Like that's the type of belief I'm talking about. Learning about your character, your thinking, your beliefs, why some people had opportunities and money tend to disappear, and the keys to success with energy. So I just want to give you all that first episode just to say, just to give this a try as well. So bear with me, things will get better, get a little bit better with editing and all the sorts with the video. But I'm gonna be reading more and posting more about the book. So follow me if you're interested. And yeah, that's all I got for you. So hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Good little money talk, and we'll see you soon. Peace.